Okay, so in the next part, like, so Python is a dynamically typed language. So what I mean is, like, it understands what you are mentioning here. Like we mentioned here 25, 6.1 couple. So it's able to understand this 25 as an integer, this 6.1 as a float, and this couple as a string. So it's doing this at a runtime. So there were some languages, like if I say Java or C or the previous languages, in which we need to explicitly specify whenever we were declaring variables, right? Okay, I'm declaring an integer variable, I'm declaring a float, so I need to explicitly mention. There wasn't syntax to mention that. But in Python, it's dynamically, it automatically understand based on what value you do. If you give 25, right, so it will automatically understand it, like it's an integer. So that is what this statement is telling. Python is a dynamically typed language. Type of a variable is determined at runtime. So whenever we run, right, so it determines this. And so what I've done here is, so there is an inbuilt function in Python. So let's say I say this is an integer, right? But I mean, you might say, okay, can I know like how Python is understanding it, whether Python is treating this as an integer or not? So type. So type is an inbuilt function, okay? Inbuilt class, I can say. So type like this. So it's readily available within Python. Okay. So what I have to do, I have to just use this type and then put a variable name in this, whichever I need to find out, like what type of this variable is. Okay, right now I know, I mean, it's simple. I mean, by looking at this, I can say, okay, this is an integer, this is a float, this is a string. But there would be a situation when you do a programming, right? You do not know, this value might be coming from somewhere else. Okay, when you build some application, right, so this value might be coming from somewhere else, but you do not know what type of this value is. At that time, this function comes as a savior for us. So what we can do is, we can just use this print type, and then we put any variable name whichever you want to, I mean, determine. So I put age here. So if I run it, see, it's telling it's class integer, it's of integer class. Okay, in the similar fashion, I can check for others also. It's a float. Okay, and let's say tomorrow, what you did is, you so when we were capturing value from any, you can say, let's say a third party website or somewhere, we are getting this value. Or let's say that Gmail example, in Gmail also it will be able to understand, instead of username you put a float value, so it can also understand. So see, right now, I mean, earlier it was an integer, but I made it to 25.0. Let's see how Python takes it now. See, it also changed it. If I change it here, it's showing your change, right? So that's how this type function is helping us in terms of determining. So because user, I mean, we can't trust user, right? User can input anything, but if we check what he has entered in terms of type, so we got to know it's a float. Okay, so this is how the concept of type. So it's a ready to use inbuilt function. So in the similar fashion, like we use type here, right? And in general terms, I'm calling it as an inbuilt function, but in Python perspective, it's a class. Okay, you can assume it's a class. And for analogy, you can understand it's an inbuilt function. It has the ability to determine the type of variable we are using. Okay, but in Python terms, it's a class. Okay, we have a dedicated lecture in terms of what is a class, how it works. But for now, for your understanding, you can assume it as an inbuilt function, or in Python terms, you can assume it as a class. Okay, so in the similar fashion, like type checking for checking and conversion. So type is height. Height is also a float. So here I'm printing, I took age, and then I print age underscore str. So yeah, so this is called as a type conversion. So if I have age is equal to 25 and I printed its type, let me just execute this. So the first print, what it is telling is this particular value is an integer. But what I did here is I typecasted it. So what typecast means, I want to change this 25 into something else. Okay, I don't want to treat, the user has input it as an integer. Okay, the user has input as an integer, but I want this 25 as a string. Okay, I want this 25 as a string, because see, if I 25 can be a number and 25 can be a string also. So you can, I mean, you will say like, how is it? I mean, 25 will always be a number, right? How can it be a string? It can be a string. Let me show you. Okay, print 25. Now 25 is behaving as a, if I print this, let me just comment this out. 25 is behaving as a number. This is as a number. Now let me show you how it will behave as a string. Now it's behaving as a string. Now you can see, I mean, I didn't understood in both the examples, the output is same, right? So what I can do is, let me show you like this: 25 plus 5, and then 25 plus 5. Okay, now let me execute. If you see, when it's behaving as a string, it's not performing an addition operation. It directly printed whatever value is here. So in this section, under this double quotes, it's behaving as a string. Its nature is a string. It's not a you can say a number. But here, when I put 25 plus 5, it's behaving as a number. So in number we can do additions, but with strings we can't do, right? We cannot add 25, or we cannot. So I mean, instead of 25, if it would have been like this, 20, okay, and then 5, I can't add strings, right? So this is what I'm trying to tell you. If it's in under quotes, it will not be interpreted as a number. It will always be interpreted as a string, and it will not perform any kind of an action. It will directly print whatever you are mentioning here. Okay. And then comes the type conversion. I want to convert its type. Right now what it is, it's an integer. I want to make it as a string. I can make 25 as a string, right? I used here 25 as a string. So now I want to convert it directly. Here I did it manually, but I want to do it directly. So what I am doing here is, I'm taking another variable, age underscore str. In this, what I'm doing is, I'm using an inbuilt function within Python, which is str. And then what I'm doing is, I'm using this age variable here. Okay. So what this line means is, this age, take this age variable from here and typecast into string, change its behavior, make it as a string. Once you make it as a string, right, then assign the value in this age underscore str variable. Okay, and then print age underscore str, and then print type of age underscore str. Okay, so see, initially, let me comment out this. Initially the age was integer, but now the age is string. So we change its behavior, right, successfully. Okay, so this is what this section is trying to tell us, to develop an understanding. So what we call this as type conversion, typecasting. We call these names when we use these things. We can use other things also, like float, based on what it is. Okay, so if I use, see, let's say float, let me try to convert it. If the conversion is not possible, Python will give you error. Okay, if it's possible, it will not give you an error. See, what it did is, it took 25 and then this just added a 0, 25.0, and then oh, now it's a float. Earlier it was an integer, but now it's a float. So what this is called as typecasting or type conversion. We converted from integer to string.
Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed our session at LWP Labs. For more videos like this, you can subscribe to our channel and contact the number for live classes. The future is now with AI.